So books on my Christmas? Hi, I'm Stacey and welcome to my Book Nook. And today we're going to be going through some books that are on my Christmas wish list. And there's quite a few of these, so get strapped in. So the first one that I have on my wish list, I've had for quite a while, and that book is Snow Glass Apples by Neil Gaiman. This is an illustrated version of Fairy Tale. I actually have the Sleeper and the Spindle. This is also an illustrated edition. This one, my lovely boyfriend got for me last year. So this it's absolutely gorgeous. This one is illustrated by Chris Riddell. And I enjoyed the story in it, so I think I know I'll enjoy Snow Glass Apples. The next one that I have on there is one that I don't know an awful lot about, but I've heard really good things, and it's an author that I have read from before and I enjoyed it before. And that author is Seanan McGuire, and I read Every Heart a Doorway before, and it was really good. So I'd quite like to give Middlegame a go. I think it could be something that I enjoy. I think it's supposed to be a bit more kind of dark, I'm going to say. The next one on my wish list is The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher. I've been saying this for such a long time now. I just really want to read a T. Kingfisher book, and I know there's a couple on Libby that I could read, but The Twisted Ones is not one of them. And it's the one that's been recommended the most. Yes, so this is a horror book that I also know quite very little about. But I think it could be for me. The next is a Brandon Sanderson 2-for-1. So the first one that I have is the Mistborn box set, because I read the first book in Mistborn and I would like to read the rest. Yeah, so I read The Final Empire, I really enjoyed it, and I'd like to read the rest, but I kind of want a box set for it. And I also have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson on there, and I believe this deals with colour magic, which sounds really interesting. In general, his magic systems are really interesting. Mistborn has a metal-based magic system, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, so the next one I have is also one that I know not too much about. It is called The Library of the Unwritten, and it is by A.J. Hackwith. Hackwith? Okay. So it's by A.J. Hackwith, and I can't remember if this is the right book. I think it is. I think it's about a library in hell. Let me have a look at that, because I'm not 100% sure about that one. There's been a lot of books about libraries coming out in the past couple of years, and they confuse me. Okay, so I was right about it being in hell. Books that aren't finished by their authors reside in the Library of the Unwritten in hell, and it's up to the librarian to track down any restless characters who emerge from those unfinished stories. Many years ago, Claire was named head librarian of the Unwritten Wing, a neutral space in hell where all stories unfinished by their authors reside. It said a hero escapes from his book and goes in search of his author. Yeah. Lots of other things happen, and it sounds really good. So, I do want that one quite a lot. And the next one we have is The Book of Gothel. That's by Mary McMyne, and that is a Rapunzel retelling. It's about Mother Gothel, and I'm interested to see the differences. Okay, so the next book that I have on my wish list is The Art of Howls Moving Castle, because I am a great lover of art. I do enjoy making my own art, and I also really enjoy Studio Ghibli, and I really enjoy Howls Moving Castle. So I would like to just have a book full of their art, and I also really enjoy the process. So when animated films come out with the initial designs for things, I find that so interesting to see how it's developed. So I think that's something that I would really love. The next one is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber. This is the second book to Once Upon a Broken Heart, and this follows Evangeline and Jax. And I don't really remember the first book very well, to be honest. I remember it's very magical. Stuff goes down. Stuff always goes down in Stephanie Garber books. But I remember I liked it. I didn't love it, but I do want to know what happens in the next one. I think I gave it 3 stars. So it's not top of my list, but I would quite like to know what happens. The next one is quite an old book, and I was hunting for it, but it had been, as far as I was aware, out of publication, so it was really hard to track down a physical copy of this book. And then I realised that they were bringing out a new copy of it, and it was gorgeous. So this book is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle, and it is a story about the last unicorn. It's very magical, and I used to watch the film of The Last Unicorn quite a lot with my sister, so it's quite nostalgic for me because we watched it as children. So yeah, that's out in hardback right now. Next year it's coming out in paperback, so we shall see. The next one is called The Unlikely Escape of Uriah Heep, and that is by H.G. Parry. I think this is actually another book one. So I've heard so many people saying that this is a great book and to read it. So I knew it. I was like, I'm sure it's a similar idea to The Library of the Unwritten and also Inkheart, which I absolutely love. So this is the ultimate book lover's fantasy featuring a young scholar with the power to bring literary characters into the world. For his entire life, Charlie Sutherland has concealed a magical ability he can't quite control. He can bring characters from books into the real world. His older brother Rob, a young lawyer with a normal house, a normal fiancée, and an utterly normal life, hopes that this strange family secret will disappear with disuse, and he will be discharged from his life's duty of protecting Charlie and the real world from each other. But then, literary characters start causing trouble in their city, making threats about destroying the world, and for once it isn't Charlie's doing. There's someone else who shares his powers, and it's up to Charlie and a reluctant Rob to stop them before these characters tear apart the fabric of reality. So, yeah, story characters coming to life sounds good to me. Clearly, because I've got 2 of those on this list. The next one that I have on the list is The Dragon's Promise by Elizabeth Lim, and this is the second book to 6 Crimson Cranes. And that is based on a fairy tale. I think it's The Six Swans. But it's kind of, I think this one will be more of its own thing. So in the original one, there's a princess and her brothers get cursed to be cranes, and she has and she is cursed not to be able to speak. Yes. If she speaks a single word, one of her brothers will die, and etc. So she goes into this castle and she's trying to find a way to get her brothers back, essentially. So that was the first book. This one, I think, is following on. There's a dragon in the first book, and there's something about the dragon's pearl, and I can't really remember. But I'm going to assume that this one's based a little bit more on Chinese mythology than the first one. So we'll see. The next one is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, which sounds so intriguing. So in this book, it's about New York City, and many cities around the world now have these things called avatars, which are kind of embodiments of the city in, like, I think it's in human form. I could be wrong. But they're embodiments of the city. And New York has several because of the different districts, or maybe because of something else. I can't remember. But it's about these avatars, and I think it sounds really interesting. I think it's a sci-fi, and it just sounds really cool. The next one is Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant, who is actually Seanan McGuire. And Into the Drowning Deep is kind of a more of a dark, horror-y book, and it's about mermaids. But super dark, like really dark. So obviously I want to read it. Then we have Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry, and I've heard so many things about this book. Everyone seems to absolutely adore it. It's said to be a cozy fantasy, and it's about this orc who is done with being a warrior, and she decides that she wants to open a coffee shop. But no one else has heard of a coffee shop, so she's got her work cut out for her. But it sounds great. It's something that could be just really easy to read, I think. And the last one on this list is something a little bit different for me. So this book is a non-fiction. So that's really different for me. But I feel like I would read non-fiction more if it's in book form. So I'm going to try it, whether or not I actually receive it for Christmas. So this book is Unwell Women by Eleanor Cleghorn, and it's about how women have been kind of treated badly in the medical world since, I guess, the dawning of time. So, for example, women used to be diagnosed with hysteria and stuff, just which was, instead of actually looking into what they had, it was just hysteria. So, yeah, it's about things like misdiagnoses and how women aren't. This is as far as I'm aware, by the way, and how women aren't taken seriously, I suppose. And I don't know whether it's. I mean, I've had experiences with medical professionals where they haven't believed what I've said. Whether or not it's because I'm a woman is something that I have no idea about. But I've had those kind of experiences, so it would be quite interesting to see what this book says. So that is the 16 books on my wish list for Christmas. And potentially, well, we'll just see how that goes. There are many other books that I would like that are on my Goodreads and on my Amazon, and I've got a whole separate wish list on Amazon just for books, but I've decided not to share that with anyone because there's a ton on it. There's so many, and it varies in how much I want them. So yeah, we'll see. So if you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! I mean, we can't have a Christmas video without some Christmas earrings, can we? I'm wearing the jingliest top. Actually, it's well cute. I'm just gonna... Look how cute that is.